Hello, I'm Dr. Ashish Bhatia, and I'm here to talk to you about the only complete body sculpting solution out there. And we're really happy to have this in our practice, and I'd love to tell you a little bit more about it. If you want to see some posts, you can go to Bhatia Derm on Instagram. So the first part of this solution is the truSculpt ID. As we talked about, this is a fat melting lipolysis based device. And what it does is use radiofrequency energy to actually heat up the fat to a temperature where fat actually goes through apoptosis and also direct destruction or lipolysis due to the heat. And it's a very quick treatment. It's a 15-minute treatment with hand pieces that can be customized for any area. Most common areas we do are like this: love handles and belly. And you can see 12 weeks after a single treatment how much slimming this person has. And you can do a second treatment if you'd like. Then the second part of the solution is the truSculpt Flex. And the Flex is a muscle stimulation device. And you can target up to 8 muscle groups with it. And so you could do the abs, the obliques, the butt, the thighs, wherever you want to do, you could do to help build muscle and tone muscle. And you can see here, there's a patient who was already in really good shape and then wanted to get more cut. You can see after 4 weeks of 4 treatments, they got more definition. 8 weeks after 4 treatments, even more definition. And 12 weeks out, even more defined. So combine these two and you have a complete solution. So on the left, or your left, you can see the truSculpt Flex, and on the right is the truSculpt ID. And in our practice, this has been a great combination therapy because you remove fat with the truSculpt ID, then rebuild muscle with the Flex. And also, the truSculpt ID tightens skin because it's RF energy. So unlike cool sculpting, for instance, where you can destroy fat, you can't tighten skin with that. With the truSculpt ID, you can do both. You can remove the fat and actually tighten the skin. So why do we combine the treatments? Because we really want to get the best outcomes possible. And when we see the patient, we assess them, most people need not only fat reduction, but they also need muscle toning. And if you do that, then you can get them the best aesthetic result possible. And we choose really what the outcome is best, which outcome is best for the patient. Sometimes patients don't want all that. Sometimes patients just want a little fat reduction and skin tightening. And we would just do the ID. Some people want to just look great, and then we use the combination therapy. So we call this combination treatment of the truSculpt ID and the truSculpt Flex truBody. And the first part of truBody is removing the fat. So like we talked about before, the truSculpt ID is what we use to use RF energy to destroy fat and tighten skin. And it's a 15-minute treatment, and you get about a 24% permanent reduction of fat in the areas that are treated. And since it's the fastest and most comfortable protocol of all the other devices out there, it makes fat treating very efficient in your practice. Also, with the hand pieces, you can put them anywhere. So you don't have to buy more and more hand pieces to treat different areas. This comes with 6 hand pieces that you can use to treat back fat, love handles, abdominal fat. And so you can use the same 6 hand pieces everywhere. There's also a chin submental fat reduction hand piece, and then there's a glide hand piece that also comes with it, but everything comes with the device. And this is safe for all skin types, all body types, all BMIs. If somebody's bigger, before I used to not treat them thinking that if they have a big BMI, they're not going to get results. It's to the contrary. You might need more treatments, but they still get a result, and you can bring things in. I'll show you some pictures in a little bit. And then the truBody, the second part of it is the truSculpt Flex, which is a muscle stimulation device, which can actually increase the muscle mass by 30%. And it can treat the largest area of any device in the industry, 4 times larger actually. And it targets the actual muscle groups that you want to treat. It's not like mSculpt or some of the other devices where you put it on there and it just causes a generalized contraction of all the muscles in the zone. Here you're getting just milliamps of energy that are directed only where you want them. to tone specific muscle groups, and you can customize this completely. And the other benefit of this, and we use it a lot for this, is for patients that just want toning, or they're rehabbing, or they have an injury and they can't exercise. And so this gives them that muscle stimulation that they need to help build their muscles, get in better shape, improve their core strength, or improve their stability, even if you're doing the hips or the buttocks. So it's not just to look good, but it's actually to feel good and be functionally better. And the other thing is, this treatment, unlike almost any other treatment, the truBody actually renews the skin. You get improvement in your skin quality, tighter appearance, and tightening of lax skin. And even the skin contour is improved significantly. So that happens as a direct result of the truSculpt ID, which can melt the fat layer and tighten the skin. So let's take a look at this. In the beginning, I would not have treated this patient. I would think, oh man, they have too lax skin. Fat's kind of a lot. It's hanging over the belly. And this is one of my colleagues, Amy Taub's patient. And you can see after a single truSculpt ID treatment, what a difference this made. And the patient was happy because they didn't have that overhang over their belt. They could actually see their belt buckle. But then she took it further and gave the person 6 treatments with the truSculpt Flex. And you can see 12 weeks later, what a difference that made in toning the abdominal wall, the obliques, and really pulling everything in by toning the muscle underneath. So this is a great result in a patient that I normally with cool sculpting wouldn't treat, just because there's too much fat there and you wouldn't get tightening of the skin. You'd have loose skin hanging there. But you don't. Even after 12 weeks, you can see that the skin's tightened up as the fat's gone away. This is actually Dr. Tall Humes, and she, like me, likes to try most things out on herself before she does the treatments. And so here you can see she is treating her abdomen, and the abdominal muscles have actually tightened, pulled in, and given her a better contour on the belly. So after 1 ID treatment, she got a reduction in the fat layer. After 4 flex treatments, she got toning of the muscles. You can actually start seeing the definition of her muscles in her abdominals and her obliques. This is another result. You can see, and this patient had truSculpt ID first, and then followed by truSculpt Flex. And you can see great contouring in the side or love handle areas, but also the abdominal wall. And you can see a big difference even around the belly button. You don't see that depth of that belly button. It's become a lot more toned. And look at the way the fat hangs over the underwear on the left, but on the after on the right, you can see it's not hanging over anymore. So significant reduction in girth through that midsection. And a lot of people, especially women over the age of 40, have difficulty reducing the girth in that midsection. Another patient targeted in the center, and you can see this person would probably have some lax skin if we used other treatment modalities, but since we use the truSculpt ID followed by the truSculpt Flex, 5 treatments with the Flex, this is 3 weeks after the treatments are done, and she has incredible tightening in that central area as well as reduction in the love handles. And another patient with a single treatment with ID and 4 treatments with Flex, and this is Dr. Humes' patient. And you can see a slimmer midsection as well as improvement in love handles there. So this is what we want to see. And this patient could probably benefit from a second truSculpt ID treatment to get rid of a little more of that fat above and below the navel. Another great example, 1 ID treatment followed by 4 Flex treatments. And then let's talk a little bit about the mode. So, here what we do is usually 1 tone to get the person revved up and in shape, and then the sculpts to actually sculpt that muscle. And what a difference that makes. This is Dr. Modazede. He's I believe, in California. And he once again tried it on himself, and you can see an amazing difference. The middle picture is 9 weeks after a single truSculpt ID, and you can see a reduction in the fat in both the love handles and the belly. And then 6 weeks after 4 truSculpt Flex, and look at that definition he has there, which he really didn't have in the previous pictures. I'm jealous. So, how is this going to fit into your practice? Well, you'd be surprised, but patients will pay a premium for treatments that work. And, our patients have been very happy with this combo therapy. Nobody else has this in their practice. So, it really is a novelty. And being able to give people those kind of results and have both the fat melting and the muscle building and toning ability right in our practice has made a huge difference for us. It sets our practice apart from all the others. And this true body transformation, this combination, really helps treat any area that the patient wants to meet their ultimate goal of either looking better or being functionally better. And it really results in recurring practice revenue because with the truSculpt Flex, we do bring patients back every month or every other month for touch-up treatments. And this is at a lower fee. It's more like a subscription. They pay for it monthly, whether they come in or not. Like a gym membership is up to them, but they do get charged monthly for it. And they always do come because they enjoy the treatments. They love the results. So why would you want this in your practice? Because it's really the fastest growing area of aesthetics right now. People want to reduce fat, they want to build muscle, and they want targeted treatments, and this lets you give them targeted treatments and treat many areas in the single session. So it's efficient for time in your practice, it's efficient for the patient. And now we'll take some questions. Thank you very much. All right, first question. First question is, in what sequence do you treat patients with the truBody solution? Which modality comes first? Well, what we do is we do the truSculpt ID first, and then in the same session, we do the truSculpt Flex. And then with truSculpt ID, we wait 12 weeks to see the results. So we can continue doing the Flex treatments, which are twice a week for 2 weeks, or twice a week for 3 weeks, depending on if you do a 4 or 6 treatment regimen. So that's how we do it. And we find that's the best because the truSculpt ID takes it's very fast treatment, takes 15 minutes. You get that done, and you hook them up to the Flex, and you move on. Next question, what is the benefit of combining the two modalities? Well, it really gives you the best in body. Number one, the truSculpt the truSculpt ID melts the fat, decreases the fat thickness, the abdominal circumference, and it tightens the skin. And then you follow it with the truSculpt Flex, which actually helps you build the muscle, get more cut, get more ripped. And so if you want to improve the body and do body contouring, this is the ideal combination. Who is the right candidate for truBody treatment? Well, anybody that's looking to look their best, especially buttocks, thighs, abdomen, love handles, bra fat. All these areas are great areas to treat with this combination treatment. Next question. If you want to treat the patient again with truSculpt ID, would you wait the full 12 weeks? In our practice, we do. We usually wait at least 10 weeks, but usually 12 weeks because we want to see the maximum improvement that they've gotten, which is usually at 12 weeks. And then if we want to move on, we take it to the next level and we treat them. Last question. Can you use truSculpt Flex on CoolSculpt patients? Absolutely. So, some practices have both the truSculpt ID and the CoolSculpting. We used to have both, but when we started our new practice, we didn't buy CoolSculpting. We only bought the truSculpt ID. But if you have CoolSculpting, you can reduce fat thickness with that. However, you can't tighten the skin with it, but you could still enhance the outcomes by adding truSculpt Flex afterwards to help tone the muscle as you reduce the fat above it. So, great question. For more questions and seeing some treatments, go to our Instagram, Bhatia Derm. All right, thanks for having us. Until next time.
Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Tall Humes. I'm a board-certified physician in the United States, and I have an all non-surgical cosmetic practice. Today, I'm going to talk with you about how I combine truSculpt ID with truSculpt Flex in my practice. Previously, we've talked about how we slim the body, get rid of pockets of fat, as well as debulk fat with truSculpt ID, how we can also tighten up the skin and smooth out skin texture irregularities with truSculpt ID, and then how we help contour the body even more by stimulating muscle and allowing the body to firm up or become more toned with truSculpt Flex. What I want to do is talk with you about how I combine these in my practice, because even though they work great on their own, I like them even more together. Why do we talk about body contouring so much? Because non-surgical fat reduction is the fastest growing category in the aesthetic market. So this is even more than we're seeing. So more patients are doing body contouring than they are injectables. And yet a lot of us see a lot of patients for injectables as well as skincare. We've already talked about how fitness is a huge business. Almost $600 billion is spent on fitness, yet only 30% of people go to the gym. That is because they want these bodies, right? In the age of social media, everyone wants to step out of their house in the morning, look like they're about to walk the red carpet, and yet they want to do it without going to that gym, without doing any work, without diet and exercise. Why? Because honestly, we're tired. We're spending time with our families, we're working a lot, or if it's me, I'm honestly just lazy. I wake up in the morning, I want to grab that cup of coffee. After I have that coffee, I think, I don't really feel like going to the gym or going for a run. Instead, I want to do something where the device can work for me rather than me working to get that body that I want. How do I go about contouring bodies in my practice? We've talked about this before, but let's look at it a little bit more in depth. So I heat fat and freeze fat in my practice. We also stimulate muscle in order to tone the body more. And why are we doing this for our patients? We're doing it because, again, they want to have the bodies they want, honestly, without working for it. Right? They want to come in, they want me to be able to set them up, and then they have a treatment that works. So what do we do for our patients? The number one thing we do is we go about patient selection. So you saw earlier when I talked about truSculpt ID that we assess the fat. We look at our patients and we say, where is it we want to place these hand pieces, and how are we going to get the best result for you? We then look at them and say, are we going to go ahead and are we going to treat you with just fat reduction, or do we want to combine our fat reduction, truSculpt ID, with our muscle stimulation, truSculpt Flex? And why do we do this? It's because we sell outcomes and not services. So when my patient comes in, I don't assess them as a body part or as a fat reduction only. I look at them and say, you have told me that you would like to have six-pack abs. Well, how can I do this? You have an extra layer of fat, maybe it's a small pocket instead of debulking, but you have an extra layer of fat on there that you don't want, and we also want to tighten up your muscles or firm them up or stimulate them. So that's when I'll talk with them about combining truSculpt ID and truSculpt Flex. If they also have skin laxity and they're coming in, I'll bring that into the picture as well and talk to them about how they can get that body they desire. Again, as I said before, it's selling a service, not an outcome. We, like I said previously, will reduce fat with truSculpt ID, and then we'll build muscle with truSculpt Flex. And then on top of it, I also have that recurring maintenance package that they get with truSculpt Flex, and that's because the muscle stimulation will get them to their desired goal, and then we want to maintain it. So the fat reduction that we see, what's gone is gone. As far as muscle stimulation, that's what will get them on the recurring maintenance program. What I love is the fact that I can treat multiple body areas. I'm not limited to just the abdomen. I can treat all over the body. I'm doing abdomen, arms, we're doing flanks, we're doing legs. So a little bit of everything. And then one of everybody's favorites is glutes. Here you have a patient where you can see before and after. So here she is before. Patient who walks in that you think, well, honestly, this patient does look like she's going to need debulking first. We want to bring that fat down. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to treat her with truSculpt ID first, which is what she was treated with here. And then following, she was treated with 4 treatments of truSculpt Flex. So here she had the truSculpt ID treatment, and you can start Flex on the same day as that truSculpt ID treatment. I like to do truSculpt ID first, immediately followed by the Flex treatment, and then I have them follow up twice a week for 2 to 3 weeks, depending on if they need 4 or 6 Flex treatments following that truSculpt ID. Here, I think you can see she had a great result. She was treated with truSculpt ID on her full abdomen as well as flanks, and then truSculpt Flex on her abdomen only. Here we have another patient. This is before and after 1 truSculpt ID and 4 truSculpt Flex. What we did here is, again, we went ahead and we reduced the fat on her abdomen. She was treated on her flank with truSculpt ID, but just her lower flanks. And then with truSculpt Flex, she was treated on her full abdomen, including her obliques. So when I say abdomen with truSculpt Flex on treatments, I am including the obliques in that treatment. It's all part of that same session and that same area that we're treating. Here we have a patient, this is before and after. Again, on all of these patients, no change in weight, just change in their body contour or their body habitus from these treatments. Here you can see we've got before and then after. The truSculpt ID was treated on the full abdomen, and then we have our area over here on the full flanks. So lower flanks as well as upper. And what I mean by that is we did a row of truSculpt paddles here and then a row right above it. So 6 paddles total on each side, as well as 6 paddles on the full abdomen, followed by 4 treatments of truSculpt Flex. And here you can see that progression. So what we have here is this is before, this is after 1 truSculpt ID treatment, and then this is between truSculpt ID and Flex. What we talked about previously is that when we look at our flex treatments, that we do see a 30% increase in muscle mass, as well as a 25% contraction in the fat. So when we're looking at that combined, what we see is that we have a reduction in truSculpt ID from the fat standpoint. So you'll have truSculpt ID, and what is seen in studies on average with truSculpt ID is a reduction on average of 24% in the thickness of fat. That being said, in my practice, on ultrasound studies, we saw up to a 35% reduction in thickness of fat with truSculpt ID. And then with truSculpt Flex on top of that, we then see again that increase of muscle mass at 30% and a contraction of fat at about 25%. So those two combined get an even better result. So again, why do we combine these treatments? We combine them because we sell outcomes, not services. So if you can get a great result with truSculpt ID, and you can get a great result with truSculpt Flex, if you're doing them on your own, we find that when you combine those together, you can get an even better result, or what is now being termed truBody. So for us and our patients, we want to be able to give them that truBody option, but we know if they come in and they only want to do part of this, they can also do either truSculpt ID or truSculpt Flex alone, or they can combine it. Thank you very much, and you all have a wonderful day.